It isn't always easy for older seniors to use technology, even in this new era of digital health and communication. We're glad you're with us for another Techstination interview. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us is Scott Lien, co-founder and CEO of GrandPad. Thanks for being here, Scott.
Thanks for having me on your show, Fred.
Well, so for folks who may not know much about what you're doing there, what is GrandPad all about?
GrandPad is a tablet-based solution that reconnects super seniors, those that we lovingly call super seniors over the age of 75, reconnects them with their family, friends, and caregivers. We started the company because we saw that my mom and my mother-in-law, who were both in their 80s, were increasingly disconnected from their families. Brilliant ladies, both of them. My mom ran her own business, but they were being forced to use standard technology that was not designed for them, and it was frustrating them. And so we built a solution, it's hardware, software, and a service that this age group loves and enjoys and can let them connect with all the people in their circle of care, circle of trust. And we started out 7 years ago, and we've now reached over 1.2 million people, seniors, their families, and their caregivers.
That's amazing and terrific. So how did you go about crafting a solution here, developing a piece of technology that they can use, that the super seniors in quotes can easily use?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think you've hit very quickly on our secret sauce, what makes us unique. We care deeply for this age group of people, these super seniors. It's very personal to us. And so we've simply spent a lot of time listening to them with deep empathy and coming to that design discussion with a blank sheet of paper and a really open mind, and not bringing our predispositions about what we think they would like to the table, but really listening and asking the 7 whys, right? So as an example, someone might say, hey, do you do video calls with your grandchildren? This might be a question we'd ask a 90-year-old. No, I don't. Well, and then, well, why don't you? Well, I just don't need to. Why? Well, it's frustrating. Oh, why is it frustrating? Well, fussing with an iPhone and FaceTime, and then it asks you passwords. So it's just too much trouble, right? So now you start to get at the essence of what the problem is. And you find out they would love to do a video call with their grandchildren, especially in this COVID era, but the technology was a barrier. It was too frustrating. So then we start to unpack and say, how can we remove all those, what we call POVs, points of frustration? And if you remove the points of frustration, and then you let the technology be like magic, right? The technology disappears, and now it's magic. I can suddenly do video calls with my grandchildren, and now I'm getting the great experience. So it's about that deep empathy for the customers you serve. I'd like to share a story that really affected us very early on. Within our first year of operation 7 years ago, I was fortunate to be introduced to a really beautiful soul. She lived in Minnesota. Her name was Anna. And at the time, she was 114 years old, 114. She was the 7th oldest person in the world at the time. And I got to spend a lot of time with her and really listen and learn from her. She was a brilliant lady. She lived at home alone independently on a farm until age 110, okay? And she was born in 1900, so she actually told me about the first Spanish flu epidemic and the impact that had. Again, this is way before COVID and what an impact that had on the world at that time. But from her, we learned a lot. She's one of the people that we learned about the dry skin issue, right? So if you feel the tips of your fingers, all of us younger people, I'm 57, we have moisture on the tips of our fingers. That's what helps make touch screens work. When we get in our 90s and beyond, our skin will get drier and kind of more papery. And standard touch screens will no longer work well for us. Think how frustrating that is. You touch your iPhone or iPad and it doesn't respond, right? And that's what Anna was experiencing with any type of standard technology. So we learned and adapted. We've changed the properties of how our UI works in the screen. We have custom designed hardware. We actually include a special stylus in every box. And now we made a solution that would work for people in their hundreds. The average age of our super senior users is 84. So lots of people in their 80s, 90s, 100s, lots of people with all the standard physical and cognitive challenges that that age group might encounter. So,
Scott, you and I use technology every day, and just about everybody around us doing the same. We run into frustrating situations where there are lockups and the internet isn't working the way it should, and it can be frustrating for us. How did you manage to come up with a product that circumvents those kinds of issues?
yeah. We just attacked each one of them one at a time through observation. We call it the Lean startup, LEAN. It's this design thinking of build, test, learn, build, test, learn. So it's a process of testing and adapting and thinking about the problem holistically, right? So as an example, the packaging on standard technology is very frustrating for anyone, but especially if you're 90 and have some eyesight issues, maybe you have tremors, maybe you have dexterity, arthritis. Think about how most electronics is packaged. You go to your favorite electronics retailer and buy something. It's in the box, it's in that plastic clamshell, right? And that, I used to work in retail. I know, they did that for a good reason. That was to help prevent fraud and theft. But they put everything in those plastic clamshells. Now it requires a knife, a hammer, scissors, and an axe to get most things open. So you get that outer plastic open if you haven't cut your finger off by now, and now it's in a box. And take iPad. iPad, it's a beautiful product, beautiful box. You test just getting it out of the box, the dexterity required, and then everything is wrapped in plastic. So we rethought all that through testing. We saw seniors struggle. We would put a brand new tablet, an iPad still in the box in front of a senior and say, please open this and send me an email to this email address. We were not able to find anyone who was able to do it because they would get so frustrated with the packaging and then all the setup and Apple IDs and passwords, right? So we rethought all those things and attacked the whole problem, including packaging, including customer care. So one of the problems with customer care, you call a company, whether it's your cable company, your healthcare provider, or a technology provider. First, if you can get a phone number, which sometimes is challenging these days. Some of them require, live chat or emails now. But if you get a phone number, you call them, they're maybe not open, on a Saturday when you need them. And then the first thing they ask you is, what's your customer ID? What's this? They have those VRUs, voice response units, enter all these. So now, if I'm, have some dexterity issues, I'm struggling to answer all those. I just want to talk to a human being. So we redesigned the support and customer care model. Our 800 number is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, Christmas morning, whenever people need us, we're always there. A human being always answers the phone in less than 15 seconds. We don't ask any of those, we don't even own a VRU. Thank you for calling GrandPad. How can I help? So that reduces frustration. People might have a question and then we can help them. So it's just that end-to-end design thinking and then this lean startup process of build, test, learn to just very methodically eliminate all these points of frustration. I'll highlight one other simple one for you. We all have to keep all these things plugged in and charged. They're useless if the battery's dead. So imagine if I'm 90 and have eyesight issues and tremors. How hard is it to plug in this lightning adapter into this iPhone? It's impossible. Can't be done. We've seen plenty of people, that have tremendous tremors. So I can't charge the device. So that was an early on requirement that we said, we're going to have wireless inductive charging. It uses the Qi charging standard that is quite common. And we're one of the only tablets, we believe we're the only tablet in the US that has wireless charging. So you set it and now it's charging. Nice docking station. You can leave it when it's sitting there. It goes into slideshow mode and you can see the pictures of the kids and grandkids. You can do video calls at the perfect angle. You don't have to hold it. Again, if you have tremors, you can do phone calls. Has 2 front-facing speakers. Super loud, super clear, tuned to the audio, standard audio hearing of this age group. And I can hear. I don't have to fuss with trying to put in headphones and that kind of stuff. So it's just systematically attacking through observation all the points of frustration.
And this isn't a standard tablet either, right? That people can, you go to the Play Store and download apps and things. This comes configured, right? So tell me about it. How people use this.
That's right. It is a custom built from scratch tablet, charger, software, UI, everything. We started with a blank sheet of paper. It is Android deep down under the covers, but you can't get to Android. You don't have the standard features. Our design partner, one of our large investors and great partner, is Acer. So Acer, of course, the world's largest Chromebook maker, has made many tablets, smartphones, laptops, monitors, lots of things. I mean, they're one of the top hardware design and manufacturing companies in the world. So we partnered with them to custom build this. So the process is you can go to our website, grandpad.net, and you can purchase directly from us or one of our distribution partners. Oftentimes, especially now, Mother's Day is coming up. The buyer is the adult children, the 50-year-old son or daughter buying this for a gift for 80-year-old mother for Mother's Day. They answer a few questions in the buying process. It's all configured and set up in our fulfillment center before it's shipped out. So when it's shipped to, like my 88-year-old mother-in-law, Joan, when it arrives for Joan, it's all set up and configured for her. And then, she can open the easy box. She's going. It has built-in 4G LTE. We work with all the major carriers. So it can, it's automatically connected to the internet. They do not need Wi-Fi. They do not need a Wi-Fi password. It's just connected. And the family then, the children and grandchildren, they get a link sent to them to download the companion app, free companion app onto their iPhone or Android phone. So we connect what we call that whole circle of trust, put the super seniors back in the center of the family and connect them with their whole extended family using GrandPad.
Can I add more users and configure this as a son or daughter or another relative to help?
Yeah, there's no practical limit to the number of family members you can connect into that circle of trust. On average, it's 10 or 15, but there's some families that have more than 100 people connected in. So there's no practical limit. And yes, you can configure the different apps that are on there. I'd be happy to do a demo and show you some of the apps. But you as the adult son, you're considered what we call the family administrator, and you can configure and invite people in. It's a walled garden, meaning it's only by invitation only, so you can control who's invited into that circle of trust.
So show us some of the. If you're listening to this, I encourage you to go to YouTube and take a look, or to Techstination.com. Show us what this can do.
Yeah, so I'll just start with a few features. Again, you can see it's an 8-inch tablet, front-facing speakers. It's got a built-in what we call smart case, so nice protective case so that if it's dropped, it's protected. We include as part of it, we cover the insurance. So if you accidentally drop it and crack the screen, no problem, call us and we send you a new one. All the data is automatically backed up to the cloud, so there's no setup required again. Let's start. One of the real centerpiece features is photos. So the seniors, and you can see it's a very different and unique, easy interface. We call it a scrollable, a right scrolling interface, so very easy and predictable. With the photos here, I'll just show a few, some nice videos.
After a nose ring.
Hello.
I love.
So, pictures of the kids and grandkids streaming in. So the super seniors can easily see them. They're nice and big. They can comment on them. And then you can see it goes into full screen automatically. I mentioned earlier slideshow mode that will happen after it just sits for a few seconds, but I can invoke it here and it will just, when it's sitting there, they can see and just kind of watch it as a slideshow. It will just rotate through all the pictures. So photos and video sharing is a key part of it. Email, so you can see we really rethought email. It's this letter metaphor. So a picture like the postage stamp of who it's from. So there's a visual cue, the name spelled out in plain English, not, sl9540@gmail.com. Who the heck is that? That's the name of the person, the subject. They can read the email very easily. If I want to compose an email and send an email to my son, Scott, I can type if I like. Most of our users just like to speak. So we call this a voice email. So it's a countdown, and now you can see it's recording my voice. And it's actually recording all the audio. So I can say, hey, Isaac, this is Grandpa Scott. I'm here in Lawrence, Kansas today. Hope you're doing well down there in Austin. Give me a video call later today. So it's actually recorded my voice. I hit send, and that will show up now in my Gmail inbox, and it's the actual recording. So the family can hear the voice of the super senior, hear how they sound, and it showed up in my inbox here. Let me just, so the email is there. I click to listen, and it will play. So it's a countdown, and now you can see it's recording my voice, and it's actually recording all the audio, so I can say, hey.
Terrific. Really, really simple, it seems, Scott. Now, you've also taken this into the area of digital health. Tell me about that.
That's right. Yeah, and I showed you just a few areas, a few of the apps. One of the big apps that's used in digital health is video calling, telehealth, and to allow the clinicians to connect with the super seniors. So yeah, our business is pretty evenly split B2C, direct to consumer, so a family member buying it for the senior in their life. And then the other half of our business is B2B enterprise healthcare companies. And we work with all the big ones. But one healthcare provider that I would highlight, there's a big group of providers are called PACE providers. PACE is an acronym for Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. We were selected by the National PACE Association as a preferred telehealth vendor for all of their providers, and they serve tens of thousands of seniors across the United States. And so they've integrated GrandPad into their remote care model, and they use the video calling capability, which I can just highlight real briefly here, to deliver telehealth. So this shows what the seniors see, and the seniors can invoke a video call or a phone call. But the clinicians can initiate a video call from their mobile phone. So it might be a nurse, like a home health nurse that's traveling. They can do video calls from their clients from their pocket with their phone. Or we have a web-based portal where they can, and it can integrate into their other healthcare systems and say, look, here's all my patients who I need to check in with today. I have a telehealth appointment with Mrs. Smith today at 10 a.m. They simply hit a button and does a video call. We've got some really neat features in our video calling that, again, make it simple. The senior that they might be calling, again, might not have Wi-Fi in their home. We solve that. Might not have any device or access point in their home. We solve that. But then the simple user interface that they're navigating. We've all had struggles with Zoom or Skype and so on. Those are all eliminated. But the additional features we have is we have what's called beam in or auto answer. So if the senior is unable to touch the screen or answer with the proper consents in place, might be a power of attorney or might be through their doctor, it can automatically beam in and the senior doesn't even have to touch the screen. We have another feature called real-time texting. So if the person has hearing challenges, which about half this age group does, it can put the words right up on the screen so they can hear you. And you see, I talk a lot with my hands because my mother had serious hearing loss. So you can see through hand gestures, you can read lips, you can see when I'm talking, but then the words are put right up on the screen and our super loud front-facing speakers. So all those together, what our seniors tell us is they're like, wow, this is the best interaction I've ever had with my doctor, better than even being in the office because of all those things, like the words being put right up on the screen. And then lastly, we have the ability to save. The video calls can all be recorded. So both video streams and the audio, and that can be archived and put into the medical record. Might be for audit purposes or whatnot, or the seniors want to go back and review that conversation. So
can they also record their family conversations?
They can, yep. Again, with the proper notice and consent, it makes it clear that it's being recorded, but absolutely.
Terrific. So tell us about pricing for this service. It's more than hardware. It is a service.
That's right. You know, we all heard the word SaaS, software as a service. We've our kind of play on words on that is GAS, GrandPad as a service. And so everything, and we're talking about the B2C pricing now, direct to consumer. And I'm going to share my screen just so for those looking at on the video, you go to grandpad.net, you hit the buy now, you see, hey, it's Mother's Day. So there's some great promotions going here. But we basically have two options. One is annual pricing, which we recommend, or monthly. So let's look at the annual pricing. Again, it includes all the hardware, all the software, all the service, and the service includes 24/7 by 365 customer care, always there. We insure the device so that if you drop it, we'll replace the screen for you. And includes that 4G LTE data. So you do not need to have Wi-Fi or pay for broadband. So the annual subscription is the equivalent of $58 a month. So basically you pay $696 upfront, and that's equivalent of $58 a month. Now, the great thing with us, you'll see there's no contract, there's no upfront fee, there's no setup fee or shipping. And you'll see here it says prorated returns. So what that means is, let's say you buy this, you pay the upfront fee, and 6 months later, you know, we're often used in end of life situations and so on. Someone might be in hospice. If the person passes away, you call us and say, you know, we need to cancel our subscription. We get you a shipping label. You send it back. We cancel your subscription and we prorate and credit you back the remaining balance. So there's no, again, contract. I think we've all been stuck in contracts and have to pay for something we're not using. We don't do that. It's very simple, very clear. And, you know, the feedback we've got is people love this structure. Just pay as you go, pay for what you need. The other thing is we don't nickel dime people. You know, when you go buy a smartphone, then you got to buy an extra case. Then you got to buy a charger, and that's another $29. And then you need this and you need that. You got to buy a stylus. All of that's included. Everything you need is in the box and you're ready to go.
Can it work on Wi-Fi, or is it strictly an LTE?
Yep, it absolutely can work on Wi-Fi. So if people have access to Wi-Fi, they can connect to it. We can help them connect to it. We've got a neat way to help them remotely. It's easy, you know, sometimes connecting to Wi-Fi, especially if I'm 90 and have eyesight issues, can be challenging. We've got a simple Wi-Fi selector. So yes, Wi-Fi works.
Where do you go from here with this? Are you looking to add more capabilities to it, or what's next for GrandPad?
Yeah, so we're always adding new capabilities. One of them that we added in a very quick manner was at the beginning of COVID. We added Zoom. So we had our standard built-in video calling, but we added an easy version of Zoom. You can see it here. So this allowed families to connect and do big joint video calls. It allowed seniors to participate in big community activities. There's lots of, maybe it's the Zoom knitting club, or for doctors that wanted to use Zoom to reach your patients. So that's an example of something we added. We're just rolling out now a new moods application, and think of this as like calming, meditative. Sadly, a lot of anxiety and stress created by COVID. And so it's a new app to help bring calm. We've got a whole bunch of things on the B2B enterprise telehealth side to provide remote care that are coming. But the biggest thing that we're focused on is reaching every senior that needs a solution. We believe there's more than 30 million seniors in the US who need a solution like this. Sadly, the loneliness and isolation in this age group has dramatically jumped as a result of COVID. And this is a great tool to help reconnect seniors with their family, friends, and caregivers and reduce loneliness and isolation. So what we're focused on is just reaching every senior that needs a solution like this. We market the tablet in the US, Ireland, and the UK, but the family members, the companions, are in 120 countries.
Well, congratulations on what you're doing and the innovation. The website for more info is grandpad.net, N-E-T. Scott Lien, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand, without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.